Hi, welcome to Jess Checks Out. I am the host. Still kind of new on that part. I'm not quite sure how to put myself on that way, but I usually run a podcast and they have hosts, and this is not a podcast. This is so much different. All right, so I run Jess Checks Out, which is my booktube, which is why I'm doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I am 40 years old. Well, in September, but close enough. We're going to say I'm 40 at this point. I live in Germany. I'm from America, Atlanta specifically. I moved because I got my happily ever after, but I still want to start a booktube channel because I like to talk about books. I love listening to other people talk about books, and that all matters. That's kind of an important aspect, I think, to be that engaged, that wanting, that needing. And that's, the first question of why did you start this channel? Because I want to talk about books. Simplest reason ever. I also talk with my hands, so expect that. Now, some of these questions are going to be shorter because I actually have an intro video, which I will put up somewhere, and you can see that, and you can kind of catch up on that. I didn't know that was actually a Booktube Newbie Tag, like an actual tag or anything, so that was a whole new world of finding out. I have a dog named Penny. I'm going to tell you that right now, and she may or may not show up in different parts, probably for vlogs and stuff like that, but she pretty much stays off camera because she's not really into the whole people thing. She's a rescue from Spain. She's a former street dog, so she's just very into like laying on the ground, being cool, doing what she wants. So, the next question is, what are some fun and unique things you may bring to YouTube? I don't know. Like everyone else in doing the tag, what makes me special? I don't know. That's not something I can really say, right? Like that's something you guys can say because you're the viewers, you're the ones communicating, you're the ones that telling me. You will know more of what makes me unique in BookTube than I will. Because that's the whole point. I'm just telling you my opinion on things, and that's the way it is. I don't really have anything too new unique except for my mask, and that makes me somewhat unique because I have not the greatest teeth, and I've noticed in other chats and live chats and other comments and other lives about this kind of thing on other channels that it's a very real thing. Like beauty standards are a thing and we have to accept it. And the only way I feel comfortable doing this is with my mask. And we're in the middle of, as Jess Owens puts it, a panini. So why not? Why not use what I got on hand, right? In the future, I may do something different. I don't know. But for right now, mask it up. Also, I really, really like to talk, but I don't think that makes me that unique. So the next question is, what are you most excited about for this channel? That I get to talk about books? Okay, I mentioned earlier that I run a podcast, and I do. I run Deconstructing Damsels, which I will also link somewhere in this, heaven knows, on YouTube links. But basically on that one I discuss romance. Here, probably not so much as much romance or not as in-depth because that's what I do elsewhere. I've done it for 3 years. I really am excited to talk about the books that I read, what I read, because I read a variety of books. I don't just read romance. I love romance. It's absolutely fantastic, but it's not all I read. I love to read fantasy, which a lot of booktube seems to do as well. But I like nonfiction, which seems to not be that highly talked about, but I still really enjoy it. I enjoy YA. I can say that now. I've been reading more and more as we've gone by. So there are different things that, I enjoy to discuss. It's not just YA. I also enjoy maybe thrillers. Haven't quite decided to talk about that yet. The last time I read a thriller was Mary Higgins Clark in 2000, maybe before. So we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of interested in it because I'm on Bookstagram, and Bookstagram really talks about them as well. And that kind of leads into why do I love reading? I love reading because reading is my escape. So when I was little, there was a lot of chaos in my life. I came from a lot of chaos, and There was a lot of ups and downs and stuff like that, but books were my constant. And I'm filming this in May of 2021, and this month was my godmother's birthday. Now, my godmother passed away in September of last year. I'm not quite sure why, but that's a whole nother story. But my point being that she passed away and she kind of fostered this love. My dad loves to read too, don't get me wrong. But I really wasn't a fan of like Tom Clancy, John Grisham. I read John Grisham, a couple of his books, but it really wasn't my thing. I did enjoy the fact he let me read Jurassic Park when I was like, what, 10, something like that. So bless him for that. But, you know, my godmom did a lot of fostering this love. I've been reading so for as long as I can remember. Like, I can't not remember reading at this point in my life. And being able to go into another life, another experience, another world sometimes, especially with fantasy, is really exciting, especially when you're in the middle of the lockdowns from hell. So it's a big thing, like being stuck inside all the time because you literally cannot go outside. Being in a nation that stays in lockdown or stays shut down right now. It's a whole thing, and so it's really important for me to read and learn, and I can't wait to find out what other people are thinking too, because it's people every day join booktube, and I didn't realize that for a long time because I was just watching the same people over and over and over again. And I found some new people through that, don't get me wrong, but like I didn't realize there was like people like me who were just new to it in the same way. And so it's really fun to talk about that and to explore why I like reading. The next question is what book series got you into reading? I don't have one offhand because, like I said, I've been reading for so long. I can remember being like, 3 and 4 and reading books with my mom. Granted, it was Hello Kitty. So I'm not saying I was reading like War and Peace, but I was reading, like it's a constant thing. And so for me, I don't have a singular title. I know that when I was younger, I used to love Sweet Valley High. Oh my god, I used to love Sweet Valley High. And so that was one that I can really definitively remember, but I was also reading like Babysitter's Club at the time, and Nancy Drew Case Files, and there was a bunch of like YA in the 90s was very in 80s was very different from YA now. We'll put it that way. And what was packaged and given attention and stuff like that, because Sweet Valley was a juggernaut. And so I can definitively remember reading those. I can also remember reading like Jurassic Park, like I mentioned. I preferred the movie over the book, even though I actually really liked the book when I was a kid. I liked how, descriptive it was of the different dinosaur issues. But, you know, I I just have always read. I honestly can't remember a time. Like, I have a few videos coming up in the next, I don't know, month or so, where I talk a little bit about what I read as a kid, and like what got me into reading and things like that. Because like I read the normal Little House on the Prairie, but like Little House on the Prairie did not have the same impact that like Sweet Valley High. Again, SVH had a huge impact on my reading ability because it was like reading a soap opera for kids, and I was huge into soap operas. If you watch Days of Our Lives in the 80s and the 90s, you know. Again, I think I'm kind of showing my age, which may make me a little bit different on BookTube since I am 40 and I'm starting out. I'm not, you know, like I didn't grow up with like the Cassandra Clare books. I didn't grow up with any of that. So it's a little bit of a different timeline a bit, I think. And then the next question is like, what questions would you ask your favorite YouTuber? And I think I would ask more about the analytics side, which I'm glad to see some of the bigger YouTubers doing. Beautifully Bookish Bethany has been talking about it. I know books like Whoa, Mara has been talking about it. And as more people put that information out there, I think it's easier for us as newbies to understand what we're looking for and how to work within this. Because like when you're going this from a fan to the other side, it's really hard. I had the same issue with my podcast. I did not know all what I was supposed to be doing. And then I was like, oh, right, I can ask. So the one thing I really will say is Bethany and Mara, and I want to say actually from Bookish Grounds, are really good about talking about that data as well. And to me, that's what I want to know. Like, I'm not the most confident person. I'm talkative with hands and words, but I can get through this. I think it's just going to take some time, especially the intro, because I keep wanting to call this Deconstructing Damsels. You do that for 3 years, it just kind of goes in your head. But I want to really talk about the data and the setup and the business side of it, because the business is not just making money, it's also how to create the content. And I think that's really important because you need to find your own voice and you need to see what other people are doing in order to see what works or may not work for you because of what you know and you know about yourself. And I know certain things will not work for me, so I don't do them. Like I pick my TBR my way and stuff like that. So it's more of a data analysis, I think. So, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Lord knows. Everything. Honestly, though, scheduling probably for me. Because I have ADHD mind where I either hyper focus and spend all this time on one thing and distract about something else, which my poor podcast may be from a little bit to try and figure this out. But also, I have issues with like nature and natural light because the I don't have the money right now to buy like a ring light and things like that. And so because I don't have those, it can make putting things together somewhat difficult because you have to clean your house. This corner is actually where my couch usually goes. It's things like that. It's the nitty gritty stuff. And don't think I'm gonna run out of content for a while because I have a list like this long of outline stuff to talk about. So that's not the problem. It's just the timing and the feeling like I should get my clothes on and get my face on and get ready because like if it was up to me I'd probably be sitting in my on my daybed couch and just watching TV or well we say TV it's actually the YouTube app but like watching TV or reading and stuff like that so it's that motivational factor for me. I'm not unmotivated, I'm just dependent on mood, just like reading. And then of course they ask when did I start reading, and honestly, like I said, I don't have a time I didn't start reading. So, and then where do I read? Again, I read on my couch for the most part. I actually like this chair as well. It's normally sitting in front of our window, and then I can sit there and I can kind of like watch the TV at a better angle, and I can also read a book like I read physical books more often than not in this chair because it's just easier to hold it and you know see prove it. See? So I do stuff like that. And sometimes I read in bed, like when I go to sleep, because my husband has to go to bed early due to work. He gets up at before dawn and he gets ready and goes to work. So at nighttime, if I'm not sleepy, I'll either listen to an audiobook with headphones in or I will read my uh, phone, usually my Kindle app. I will say that's another thing. I probably should have put this in here sooner, but I don't have a lot of physical books. You will see my B-roll at the end of my bookshelf. It's very small because I have a lot of ebooks, and that's just because when I moved from the US to Germany, I couldn't bring a lot of books. And books in Germany are vastly different price, and I don't have access to like a library or anything like that. So I need to see if you guys know of any like way for international people who are American citizens to get a library card, that'd be great because my local library doesn't have what I need. So, Kindle is very big for me. It's very popular. It's kind of the main reading source for me. And of course, this asks like, what kind of books do you like to read? I've mentioned a ton, but I'm doing a reread of Wicked Lovely for my podcast patrons this summer, and so I'm trying to include that. And I read fantasy like thick fantasies You know, the long ones, I read Kel Carpenter's Dark Magi series because it's got a lot of things like Anne Bishop's Dark Jewel series, and so stuff like that really helps. And so I like to include stuff like that. I also read nonfiction. I love memoirs. I love looking back at things. I recently bought the Last Queen of Hawaii's memoir from obviously like the 1800s, but I bought that, and I bought, you know, I've got stuff about like the Five, and I like to mix up what I read. I've also been reading things like Cemetery Boys, whatever else is on my shelf, whatever I get at a free little library, because we have this big library box. I will put that on a blog one day, and you can see just how cool that is. It's just like, imagine like a little free library, but like 5 shelves and wide enough for like maybe 4 rows of books. It's huge. And there's throughout my city in Germany, there's a bunch of those. And so you can find stuff like that. I like to read a variety of things. I don't like to pigeonhole myself into one thing. Because I did that with romance for quite a while since I had the podcast, and I realized I was burning out. And I don't want to burn out, so I will read like 4 or 5 books at a time sometimes. I can just move them around, which kind of impresses the heck out of my husband because he's not a reader, and it's not that he can't read. He just ADHD. He does not have the ability to sit there and spend 3 hours reading a book like I do, because exactly what I do. And then here's the last question, and then you can leave, and I can be done talking, I guess. And that is, what does your book collection look like? As I mentioned, I have a B-roll that I will be putting up at the end because I took a picture of it. It's actually right here, right beside me. I just don't do it in front of this because I haven't finished putting the bookshelf together entirely. But we got it for like $20, which is basically free. It's one of the IKEA shelves, which I know a lot of booktubers have, but it was like $20 put together. But we still have to get like at least 1 or 2 more shelves for the bottom. So I've been kind of like not doing any kind of videoing there, but I may in the future as soon as we get that shelf or two, because my husband has got these really high books like comics and stuff like that, and I'd like to put those somewhere, so we need to work on that. But other than that, that's me. I'm Jess. I also go by Jessie, Jessica. Like, I was born in the 80s. There's a bunch of us Jessicas on this platform. I picked Jess Checks Out because it sounds like Just Check Out, so that was my way in. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I love comments. If you like me, please subscribe and hit that bell, because apparently that's what we say now. And it goes ding. So, I don't know, man, that's what a bell says, ding. So, thank you for watching. And I don't know, apparently they've been talking about putting emojis in the comment below if you get to the bottom of this, but I'm not sure. I am going to have in the links below a few new booktubers that are around the same time as me uploading, and I would love for you to check them out. And I will see you next time when whatever I watch, you're gonna watch or listen about. I don't know. Bye, guys.